Yo, what is up, guys? You got your boy Illusion here, finally bringing you my NPL Minors draft analysis. I've been very excited for this league. If you don't know what the NPL is, the NPL is probably the most competitive league in all of draft league community entirely. It's one of the most popular leagues as well. But one thing that sets the NPL apart is that the competition within the NPL is so intense. And the fact is that I'm only in minors, which is a tier below majors, and the competition is stacked with some overpowered coaches. We got coaches like Owen, we got coaches like II, who's has this channel with me, coaches like Hiker Toad, Omega Jolteon, Jake, Turk, John W. Well, maybe not John W. Okay, so yeah, we got a really stacked coach lineup, and to beat this stacked coach lineup, I had to draft a broken team. And let me go over this broken team for you. The first Pokemon I picked was the boy, Coco the mascot, my favorite Pokemon to use in draft format, Tapu Koko. I honestly can't say enough good things about this Pokemon. Tapu Koko has one of the best speed tiers out there, has really good attacking stats, has very respectable bulk and recovery and roost, and has a godly ability, and I chose it as my Zmon. There's just so many things going on with this Pokemon that makes it so hard to prep for. Its speed, like I said, it's really good. Base 130. Not many Pokemon can outspeed base 130 on people's team. Usually the only Pokemon that outspeed Koko are Megas or Scarfer, which is pretty nuts. And something to note with the base 130 speed tier is that at full speed, it guarantees outspeeds certain Scarfers, even like Scarfers like Breloom and Bisharp. So they have to be worried about running that because of how fast Koko is. And something else to note is that Koko is usually so fast that I can afford to run not that much speed and then put a lot of bulk in there. Which, its bulk isn't that impressive, but once you put investment in it, it can serve a purpose as bulk really well, especially with recovery. And I chose this as my Z Pokemon. As you know, if you've watched my channel, Koko is one of my favorite Z Pokemons to use. It has so many options. Z Nature's Madness with a Tapunium Z is deadly versus bulky Pokemon. Z Thunderbolt in Wild Charge is absolutely insane. Like, if you look at Tapu Koko's special attack, base 95 doesn't seem that impressive, but when you take the Electric Surge into account, Tapu Koko's Thunderbolts in the electric terrain is equivalent to a Kingdra's Surf in the rain. And you know how threatening Kingdra in the rain is. Koko is absolutely a monster. And like Electrium Z Wild Charge is so powerful that if you're not resisted, you're dropping and you're dead. Especially with his base 115 attack. Yeah, Koko is just a monster. One of the best pivot graphers, best speed tier. Honestly, the best electric type in the entire game. And it's a fairy, so it's immune to dragon type attacks. I love this Pokemon. I'm glad I drafted it. And I drafted again in a heartbeat. The next Pokemon I got is one that I'm shocked fell down to me. Is Infernape. I was third pick in the draft, and how drafts usually work is it's in a serpentine order. So I was third pick in the first round, but then I was third to last pick in the second round, and Infernape fell to me. Infernape is a beast of a Pokemon. It also has a great speed tier. One thing to note is that its speed tier is below base 110s, but its speed tier is good in that it forces base 110s like Latios and Latias to run full speed, which is very nice. And Infernape has like Koko, its defense might not be that respectable, but it gets recovery, and I can run defensive stat if I put enough investment. And another thing to note is, like Koko, it can be both attacking and special attacking. So I can run either a physical Scarfer set or a special Scarfer set. There's so many options to run with Infernape. It's such a versatile Pokemon. Like Koko as well, it's a very good pivot grabber with U-turner. Like U-turn. And one thing I think Infernape has over Koko is that it has its setup opportunities. It gets both Swords Dance and Nasty Plot with priority fighting for both stats, which I think is pretty insane. I could even run something like Swords Dance Flame Charge, which could be nuts in a certain matchup. But yeah, Infernape has a lot going for it, and it also one thing I like is that it gets Stealth Rocks. Usually you don't want to be running Stealth Rocks with Infernape, but sometimes you have to in certain matchups. Catch them off guard. So yeah, this is a really good Pokemon. I'm glad it fell to me. Has a lot of utility, a lot of options, great offense, can run a recovery set, and it fills the fire type niche on my team, which is nice. Honestly, I also think Infernape is one of the best Choice Scarfers in the game. One of the easiest Pokemon to run Choice Scarf on because of its speed tier and its moveset and powerful stabs. So yeah, that's Infernape for you. Very good mom. Glad I drafted it as well. Next, we got the boy Hydreigon. This is another Pokemon I have a lot of experience using and that I like a lot. Hydreigon is, in my opinion, one of the best Dragon types you can draft. For the sole reason that it has really good bulk. 92, 90, 90 is actually very insane bulk. And you can run defensive sets with Hydreigon very well. I have ran defensive Hydreigon sets. Like Hydreigon checks Bandit Entei all the time, which is insane because of a Roost and recovery. And also its attacking and special attacking stat is very nice. The only thing I don't like about Hydreigon is that its speed tier falls just below the base 100 speed tier, which kind of sucks. But that's something that can work around. It also forces certain base 100 Pokemon to run full max speed investment to outspeed Hydreigon, which is a nice thing speed tier wise to force people to run. It's another U-turner. Something you might note between my first three Pokemon is all of them have good mixed attacking stats, both good attack and special attack in all three of these picks. All of three of them have the capability to run defensive due to recovery. Roost in Coco's case, Slack Off in Infernape's case, and Roost in Hydreigon's case. And they all also have the capability of grabbing momentum with U-turn and Volt Switch, which is nice. That's what the kind of idea I was going for with my first three core, and I thought it's gonna work out pretty well, and I'm glad I was able to draft them. One thing to note is that Hydreigon has some really cool techs in it. As you may think that Hydreigon's walled by certain fairies, but it gets Flash Cannon, it gets things like Iron Tail. You can even run something wild like Belch, which would be really nice. Hydreigon just has a lot of options. A really good Wall Breaker, really good Stall Breaker as well. All three of these Pokemon get Taunt, which I'm a huge fan of. And I'm hoping to have a lot of fun with them. Next Pokemon I got Empoleon, aka GG It's Envy. So this is a Pokemon I use in the EBT draft tournament, and it's a Pokemon I've really grown to like. With this Empoleon, I fill out my Fairy Dragon Steel Core, and it's honestly a really nice defogger and a rocker. One thing I think all teams should have is multiple rockers and multiple defoggers, and Empoleon helps fill both of those niches. And Empoleon is a really good defensive Pokemon, but it can also serve very well offensively with things like Agility or Swords Dance. If you watch the NPL Miners stream, you could hear Halu Nasty talking about something like Sub-Agility Empoleon, which I may run. Who knows? Yeah, Empoleon is very solid. Water Steel is actually a very nice defensive typing. This is a really good Dragon Resist, really good Fairy Resist. This thing bodies most Fairy types. Things like Sylveon can almost never break through this Pokemon. Things like even something like Primarina have a very hard time breaking through this Pokemon. It's just very nice, and I like it a lot. I don't know why people hate on this Pokemon. People view it as like a meme, but it's really solid, and I'm gonna make sure it puts in work. Next, we got Porygon 2. This Pokemon is there's one reason why I drafted this Pokemon, and that it's bulky AF and gets recovery. Empoleon is bulky. Porygon is even bulkier because it's an not fully evolved Pokemon. I can run Eviolite, and Eviolite boosts its bulk insanely. It already had comparable bulk to Empoleon, Oh, give me one sec. I apologize about that. It already has comparable bulk to Empoleon just naturally without the Eviolite, but once you put the Eviolite on it, its defenses become even more ridiculous. So it serves as a very good bulky normal type. Honestly, I view this thing as similar to Snorlax in the fact that it gets recovery and is very, very bulky, which I really liked. And I really wanted a bulky normal type to switch into certain attacks. Porygon 2 checks a lot of Pokemon very well. Pokemon like Zygarde, like Banded Zygarde, can't really break through Porygon 2. And one thing that really caught my eye is that it gets cursed due to Gen 2. I just know it gets cursed in Gen 2, and you can transfer Gen 2 Pokemon to Gen 7, which is nice. So it gets cursed along with analytics, so watch out. Curse, analytic, return. Porygon's gonna steal your soul. I think it also gets Last Resort. Watch out. Curse, protect, Last Resort. Where's your switching at? I just want to know where's the switching to +1 analytics, Sylph Scarf, Last Resort. That's all I'm saying. I just want to know where they're switching at. Watch out for Porygon 2, because Sylph Scarf, Protect, Curse, Last Resort is going to be taking lives. So, one thing I noticed with my first 5 Pokemon is that I'm really weak to fighting types. Coco switches into fighting types, but if I'm running offensive Coco, I don't want to be taking hits like from fighting types. And so I wanted a bulky psychic. The bulky psychic I wanted was Necrozma. And barring that, so the one I wanted was Necrozma, and barring that, Reuniclus. But of course, both of them get sniped. I didn't expect Reuniclus to fall this low, but I did expect Necrozma to fall this low. But Carney Hobo dashed my dreams, and so I couldn't get Necrozma. And I had to get a different bulky psychic in the fact that I had to get Slowbro. So Slowbro is a really good Pokemon. It's really good physically defensive. It gets a Regenerator, which is one of the best abilities in the game for a defensive Pokemon. And the main thing I wanted from this is that it's a good fighting resist and it's a good bulky psychic to pair with Porygon 2. And that's the main reason I got it. The only problem I have with Slowbro is that it's a water type with like both Empoleon and like Empoleon, and with electric terrain up, they can both be vulnerable to electric. But I think I can play around that to an extent. And I think Slowbro was a good pickup to my team, giving me more defensive options, another setup sweeper. And something to note is that both Porygon 2 and Slowbro get Trick Room. And in my future picks, you might see why I would want to run Trick Room. So watch out. But yeah, Slowbro, some people may view it as questionable to grab double water, but like I said, I wanted a bulky psychic. Slowbro was the only good bulky psychic available in my eyes. And Slowbro has a lot of options that I'm a huge fan of, especially Calm Mind setup. Watch out for Belly Drum, Trick Room, Aqua Tail, Drain Punch. Watch out for this set, cause it may 6-0 you. I'm just saying it may 6-0 you. So watch out. Next Pokemon I grabbed was Gligar. This is another Pokemon I absolutely loved. A theme I was going in with is Pokemon I've used before and I'm comfortable with. The only Pokemon I've never used before in League format was Porygon 2. Everything else I've used before, and Gligar is another Pokemon I've used before in combination with Tapu Koko and Hydreigon. So before drafting Gligar, I didn't have much respect for it, but now I have a lot of respect for it. This Pokemon is one of the best and most reliable defoggers in the game, I believe. It's a very reliable rocker, has a very, very good typing. It's an electric immunity, like Tapu Koko, which I need because of the electric surge from Tapu Koko. And I think the biggest buff it got was that it can run immunity plus defog. And if you've ever faced a Gligar, you know that this thing is a bulky menace. And if you can't poison a bulky menace, it's very hard to beat down. And this Pokemon always puts in work whenever I've drafted it. I've drafted it in NPL. I've used it in TMT, and it's always put in work, and it's always done good by me. And so I've drafted again, and it's gonna put in more work. I guarantee it. The next Pokemon is the best Mega in the format, God Heracross, the GOAT. This Pokemon is honestly, I believe, the best Mega Wall Breaker in League format. I have one of the best U-turn cores in the entire game with Koko, Infernape, Hydreigon, not even to mention things like Hot Gligar. And when they U-turn into this big dick Mega Heracross, something is dropping. This thing is a beast. It's bulky, it's strong. This has one of the highest attack stats in the game. I think it's only like beaten by like Mega Mewtwo X, but this thing has one of the highest attack stats in the game. It gets Pin Missile, it gets Close Combat, it gets Rock Blast, and honestly, there's nothing that switches into these 3 stabs. There's only one Pokemon that switches into Mega Heracross, and its name is Unaware Clefable. But yeah, this thing is a monster. It beats down bulky grasses. It takes any hit. It doesn't get OHKO'd by anything. It kills everything in its path. And one thing I really like about it is that it really punishes bulky psychics like Reuniclus. If they want to use a bulky psychic to beat a Pokemon like Infernape, you turn into Heracross. Now what's up? Pin Missile, something's dying right here, right now. Its bulk is so respectable that it can sub up on a lot of bulky Pokemon. I really like Heracross plus Koko because I think Tapu Koko is one of the best anti-offense mons out there, and Heracross is one of the best anti-bulky Pokemon out there. And the pivot ability with Koko, with the breaking power of Heracross, is a good tried and true method of pressuring people in team building, especially people who have bulky builds. If you have like a bulky build, you have to prep for Mega Heracross because it might just 6-0 you. And that's why I love this Pokemon, and that's why I drafted it. Next, a Pokemon that fills out my Fire, Water, Grass core. And a Pokemon I gained a lot of respect for in Sun and Moon, and that's this boy's Vileplume. So you may be wondering, Vileplume, I got this for 4 points. All these Pokemon were pretty expensive points-wise, and so I had to draft lower point Pokemon as my last ones, and Vileplume was one of those low point utility picks. Vileplume is very, very good. It's a good bulky grass. It's grass poison, which is a good typing. It doesn't get thick fat like Mega Venusaur, otherwise this Pokemon would be broken. But what it does get is Strength Sap. And Strength Sap is what it does is it uses the target's attack stat to heal and reduces the attack by 1. To give an example of how that would work, say I'm running Max Attack Adamant Heracross, and Vileplume used Strength Stat versus Heracross, it would heal 515 health points, and then Heracross's attack stat will drop by 1. This recovery mechanic is broken. It honestly allows Vileplume to fully heal from like 1% against certain Pokemon. It also is good at deterring setup, because if you can't OHKO Vileplume and you set up like +2 attack, I can just heal myself entirely and drop your attack stat. It also gets surprisingly good utility moves that I really like. Aromatherapy is something I was looking at. It's a cleric, which helps Porygon 2 and Slowbro a lot, because most people deal with Porygon 2 and Slowbro through Toxic, and with the Aromatherapy, that's very nice to get rid of. It gets things like Swords Dance, which who knows, I may run. Gets it has a very respectable special attack stat, equivalent to Latias. Most people sleep on Vileplume's offensive stats, but base 110 is nothing to scoff at, especially if you're running something like Modest. And I chose Vileplume as my Z Pokemon because it has some very interesting moves that I'd like to use. Things like Moonblast, things like grass poison stab and whatnot. Something I'm also really a huge fan of is that it gets stuff like the powder moves, sleep powder. Sleep powder in particular is something I really like. Gets leech seed as well. This thing just has a lot of utility that I'm a huge fan of, and I'm hoping that it puts in a lot of work. Next, I have a Pokemon I've wanted to use for a long while, Star Raptor. This thing is, I think, honestly, probably the most threatening physical flying type attacker in the game. It gets Reckless Brave Bird coming off a base 120 attack. This thing is a monster to switch into, and something I'm very excited to use. I don't want to reveal too much about Staraptor because I got some text planned. I got some text planned for this Pokemon, but I'm really excited to use this. And one thing I got into my mind from drafting this is that most people don't draft a good flying resist, and those who do, both those flying resists usually get completely bodied by close combat. So let's just say Staraptor, if you're not ready for this boy, he may 6-0 your team. He may 6-0 your team. Watch out for Belly Drum, Slowbro, Last Resort Porygon 2, and Staraptor. Watch out, boys. Next Pokemon I have is Rhydon. So Rhydon is a Pokemon with a lot of good utility, and the main reason I drafted this is because I wanted 2 ground types. So I wanted 2 electric community ground types, 2 electric community, because the electric terrain makes it people want to bring electric type versus me, especially with dual waters. And because I have Gligar, those electric types have to run Hidden Power Ice, or they'll never break through Gligar. And that is good in the fact that Rhydon, because of Eviolite, and if I just run some special defense investment with Eviolite, Hidden Power Ice bounces off Rhydon like it's nobody's business, and that allows me to run a better electric immunity than Gligar in certain matchups, because most electric types don't get grass coverage. The only 2 I can think of off the top of the head is Tapu Koko, which I have, and Xurkitree. So it's hard for a lot of electric types to run coverage for Rhydon and Gligar at the same time. So they have to choose between using like Hidden Power Ice or something like Hidden Power Water, and decide which Pokemon, Gligar or Rhydon, they want to hit weaker, which is nice. This Pokemon is also very strong. Base 130 attack is insanely strong. Very threatening Pokemon. Against set-off options like Swords Dance, so Rhydon really is never a liability. It's never set-up fodder in matchups. And it's another rocker, which I want. You can never have too many rockers, I believe. And with this, I get 1, 2, 3, 4 rockers, which I think is a good amount. So people can't say that I'm gonna bring in Polion and that's gonna be my rocker every time. I have things like Rhydon that can take the burden of rocks off of them, off of like Pokemon like Empoleon, Gligar, and Infernape. Perhaps the thing I respect most about Rhydon is its physical bulk due to Eviolite. Similar to Porygon 2, its bulk is, especially in the physical side, is very respectable. And once you put an Eviolite on it, that physical bulk is absolutely insane. I think this thing might be able to take a Medichamp's high jump kick from full with the right investment. Don't quote me on that though. But Rhydon's a monster. Very excited to use it, and it was very what's the word I'm looking for? A valuable pick, in that it didn't cost that much, and it gave a lot of options and utility to my team. And I think it patched up a weakness in my team very well. And the last Pokemon is I have the most broken Pokemon in the entire world, Pikachu. Honestly, I drafted this Pokemon as a meme, but there may be hope to see this Pokemon. This Pikachu gets Light Ball, which is basically a choice band and choice specs times 2 without having to lock into a move. So it may Light Ball actually makes Pikachu have respectable attacking stats. And with the electric terrain, Pikachu actually could put in some work. I mean, imagine a Light Ball, a Nasty Plot, Light Ball, Thunderbolt in the electric terrain from a Pikachu. That's actually threatening. But don't expect to see Pikachu that often, but it might come. It has some really good utility moves that a lot of other Pokemon that don't get. It gets Extreme Speed, it gets Nuzzle, which is a good utility option. It gets Fake Out, which I may need in certain matchups. And it gets Lightning Rod, so it's an electric immunity, and that also may also prove useful. But yeah, the main reason I drafted Pikachu was as a meme, but who knows, maybe there might be some options to bring out Pikachu's true potential. So yeah, that's my draft analysis. Thank you guys for watching. Shout outs to the NPL miners for having to face me. Every single one of them is going to catch an L from me though. Tone's going to catch an L. Uzi's going to catch an L. I's going to catch an L. Literally every one of them is going to catch an L from your boy. So stay tuned to watch my undefeated season for the NPL miners. Thank you guys for watching.